Patreon, going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or learn about me episodes once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore, currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there. So you can try that before you head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first 2 tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man with 1,000 Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/realityt times 2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it. Even if you are on other tier, if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/realityt times 2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. This episode is ad-free on the Patreon. So if you want to partake in that, you can head on over to patreon.com/realityt times 2. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we're going to be discussing the first episode of B90. So what are we doing? Yay! So let's get into it, shall we? Let's start, because we're going to be here for a bit. Episode 1, as mentioned, we start off with Forrest. We start off with him with a little something in the background where someone's saying, "Don't burn the eggs like last time. Where is the voice coming from?" We're about to find out. So he's 32, and we find out that there are cameras everywhere in his home, and he's being watched by his girlfriend, Sheena. Sweet Sheena. He says, "I know it's crazy, but I actually find it comforting that someone is watching me while I shit, shower, cook, clean, masturbate, who knows? You know what I mean? I just love to be watched. She makes sure that I'm safe." What could she do if you weren't safe, my guy? What you gonna do? I mean, I guess she could call 911, but whatever. We find out that Sheena lives in the Philippines. They have been dating for 7 years. Y'all, 7 years. That's a lot of years. He he ends up switching his schedule to be on Filipino time. So he goes to bed at 4 a.m. and wakes up at 9 a.m. so that he can spend Sheena's days with her. So if she wants romance, Siri starts sexy mode, and he starts like dancing to sexy mode. Um, uh, um, no offense to Forrest. I think if my man started doing what he's doing and doing it to sexy mode, he'd be single. He would be single. Anyways, So he's super duper confident that she is the one. Love it. So he's not going to be traveling alone, though, to the Philippines when he goes to see her. We end up meeting his mom, Molly. Now, let me say this. I was a little ticked off by Molly initially until I understood all of her reasonings for things, but she's going to quickly piss me off again. Just wait for it. Okay, so she is going to be coming, and she says, I'm taking you to a store to be prepared. Both, we're going to find out what store this is in a second, but we do find out that both her and his stepdad are going to be coming with them to the Philippines. So mom is taking him to a sex shop because that's appropriate for your mother to take you as her child to a sex shop. But hey, she's like, you gotta get her something special. Okay. Okay. So we find out that Molly just divulges this information on national television to embarrass her child. But she says when he was 18, he got into my and my husband's stash of stuff. So I took him to the sex shop to get his own stash of stuff. Can we talk about the fact that he thought it was okay at 18 years old to go through your box of toys? And another thing, don't you have, like, a locked box of or something so that your child, who should be old enough to know better to not go through your stash of stuff, won't go through your stash of stuff? I mean, I don't think about that because I don't have children, but it does really makes me think about the fact of I'm gonna have to get, like, a box with a key so that my future children can get into mommy and daddy's stash of stuff, you know what I mean? Anyways, we find out that he has autism and he also has ADHD. His mom signed him up for an online group where he could, meet people who were like him, he could connect with, and he instantly noticed Sheena. Um, but mom does not trust Sheena for maybe that old aged reason, huh? It's a little deeper than that. We'll get to it. So at the sex shop, mom asks, so what's her size? He just blurts out, well, she's 5 foot and 200 pounds. Sir, this is a Wendy's. You don't just blurt out a woman's size. That doesn't help us figure out what her size is. You know what I mean? But we find out here that he is a virgin. We also find out that so is Sheena a little later on. He said he hasn't even kissed a woman before, besides his mom and maybe his grandma, which for that doesn't count. That doesn't count. No. I hope it doesn't count. Oh, and guess what? Like I mentioned, she's also a virgin. So this is gonna be a little bit interesting. His mom is like, I want to support you, but gosh darn it, things ain't right about her parents. She does say, gosh darn it, I did not make that up. He says, I'm trying to look past the parents. What do you mean we're trying to look past the parents? What are the parents doing? She says, you can't because she does what they want. What do you mean? What you doing? Clue me in here, please. They might be scammers. Scammers? Who's scamming? We find out that Sheena had a bank account. And this bank account was linked with her parents. And they took her money. All of it. He told her, open your own account so that they can't take your money. 4 years later, they did it again. What the fuck is going on? How did they get her money that time? He believes that this is like a Cinderella situation. She's stuck in a bell tower with her evil stepmom and stepsisters who make her clean and she has to talk to mice. That's what they think is happening here, right? Or he does. But he tells her, I was thinking I might stay there longer. The fuck you will, she says. No, you ain't. Because he thinks it would be better for the visa process if he's there. But Mama puts her foot down and says, absolutely not. I don't think so. And she's like, this is bullmalkery. I don't remember what I wrote here. Bullarchy. That's usually bullarchy. Whose idea was this? For you to stay there longer? Well, it was both of ours. And she says, if she needs help doing things, then I will help, is what he says. His mom is like, because her parents put in roadblocks. Seriously, the parents, I'm picturing like Voldemort. They're just evil beings with long ass fingernails and no nose and no hair, and they're just gonna start yelling Avada Kedavra. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I feel like your parents are being portrayed. Watch, they're gonna be lovely. Anyways, he's like, but I will remove them. No. Her parents will try to put you under their thumb because that's what they do with her. And then she will convince you to stay there. And then all your money, everything will be theirs. I added that part. Especially when the sex gets involved. I mean, once you're pussymatized, well, you'll do whatever they want because pussy. Mom says this happened before because he met a girl from Indonesia who he met by himself. He went to Indonesia to meet her, and she took advantage of him. And we will find out more about that a little later. Let's move on to the next. We've got a new person. Her name is Emma. Emma. We're in a bridal shop with her, seeing her in a wedding dress, actually. She looks beautiful. Yeah. But, hey, Emma, can you fucking get out of that dress because this is my day that we're talking about here? So we're actually here for her friend. Her friend is getting getting her wedding dress. Here is Emma, just helping herself to wedding dresses. So she's that friend. Anyway, she's 27. She's like, I'm an old lady, bitch. If you're an old lady, then what am I? Decrepit? In the grave? Walking dead? The hell? She lives with her twin sister named Izzy. They both do Botox, and currently they cannot move their faces because of it. We see her doing doggy yoga, which I would love to do because I love dogs. But anyway, she says, I fell in love after one shot of tequila before, yeah. 2 shots, I'm going home with you. Jesus. I mean, I know you, I know this from experience. Yes, you can get really happy after a shot of tequila. But my Jesus, falling in love, it's too much. So she's going to be heading to Morocco, and her sister is so that she's just not about it. She is with this guy named Ziad, and he's also 27 from Marrakesh, or if we go back to our days of Nicole and Nazin, Marrakesh. He was calling her his future wife 15 minutes into their conversation. That's called love bombing. And she's like, it sounded good to me. Of course it did. I'm sorry. If someone said to me, hey, you're my future wife, I'd be like, get the fuck away from me. Ew. No, I'm not your future anything. The fuck? Get away from me. Ew. I'm different, apparently. So she said, I will not leave there until I have a ring on my finger, since he already said I'm his future wife. So what? He bought a ring, so I hope I get it on my birthday. Apparently her birthday's going to be coming up while she'll be there in Marrakesh. So her sister is like, I would feel better if this was maybe not the first time. Or if this was the first time. So we hear about a man that she was with named Muhammad, who is also from Morocco. She was with him for a year. She was madly in love with him, and they got engaged. And then it fell very much apart. We'll find out more about that in a little bit. Um, and go figure, Ziad has no clue about her prior engagement with another guy from Morocco. So we see her talking to Ziad. She does ask him, so can we like kiss at the airport? Well, no. I know you can't kiss at the airport. I know it's illegal. But apparently he says, well, yeah, you're my girl. I don't care. That's that's not the you'd be breaking the law. She says, okay, cool. Like there aren't any like weird rules or something. Ma'am, you already know that there are weird rules, quote unquote, because you have been engaged to another guy from Morocco. So I'm going to guess that you already know about these weird rules, quote unquote. He says, I don't care about the rules, sir. Uh, uh, mm, you could get arrested. I'm just saying, anyway, she says, I sent pics, but like he hasn't said anything to me before. So like I don't know like what he's dealing with. Like what if his dick is small? Or like what if he's uncircumcised? Is uncircumcised dick a problem? I mean, I don't see the problem. Trust me, I don't. My man's uncircumcised and it's fine. Like so, like, if he's uncircumcised, like, is that a deal breaker? Like, he whips it out, he's uncircumcised, and you're just like, "Oh, ew. I can't have that in me because you still have that extra layer of skin. Like, I can't fuck with you, literally, because you're uncircumcised. Sorry. Not sorry." Like, what are you gonna do? Really? Chances are, though, because he is from an Islamic country, he's most likely going to be circumcised, but who knows? Anyway, so we see her packing. She's like, I got cute, sexy thongs because like I gotta look sexy even when I'm sleeping. I don't want to look gross or something. Like, ill. First of all, nobody's going to continue. Let me not. Yeah, okay. So she even tries to take her sister's lingerie, which I know your sisters. I know you guys almost have very similar DNA. Totally understand it. But you're still two separate people. And I don't think you guys should be sharing lingerie. That's disgusting. Anyways, so this is all happening an hour before her flight. She's packing her shit an hour before her flight. Don't you have to be at the airport 3 hours before when it's an international flight? I don't know if she had a connecting flight, but we're just going to pretend she's traveling internationally. She's going straight to Marrakesh from LA. We're just going to pretend. Don't you have to be there 3 hours before? Even if it's a domestic flight, you're still fucking late, my girl. Like, what is going on? Anyway, so her hot ass brother sees the scarf that she's packing, and apparently the scarf was actually made for her by Muhammad's mom. So she's packing it to wear in Morocco with Ziad. So that's not weird, is it? When we do find a little bit more, though, about Muhammad and the situation there. She says when she went on his social media one time, she messaged every girl he was following. And it turned out he had 20 other girlfriends. He sent her a text message saying, you're crazy and I'm done. Because here's the thing, any girl who has the time and energy to message not one, not two, but 20 different women that he's talking to. Um, it's insane. Not gonna lie. But, anyway. And she just started crying in this moment talking about it. And I'm thinking to myself, honey, if you're crying about this still, then you ain't ready to be in another relationship, girl. Huh? Anyways, Izzy says, newsflash, like, I don't think you could wear that scarf that your ex-fiance's mom made you on your last trip when he proposed to you. Like, how are you going to explain that? And yeah, like mentioned before, it's because Zia doesn't know anything. And that is partially because there was a slight overlap between the two when she met Muhammad. When things got serious with Muhammad, she ended up cutting things off with Ziad. And then I guess when things didn't work with Muhammad, she went back to Ziad. Like, that's so weird. Her brother says, listen, if I was Ziad and you told me this shit, it would be an instant breakup. And she's like, don't say that. The fuck? I don't think it should necessarily be a breakup, but it's weird that you wouldn't tell me that. You know what I mean? Zach does not think that she is actually in love with Ziad, and I don't think so either. It is based on this. I I don't think so. I think this is a rebound. Anyways, bye house. When I come back, I'll be engaged. Yay, or not. So this dumb bitch is literally taking the rear view mirror while Izzy is driving in order to do her makeup. You don't need it anyways. Yeah, she does. Yeah, she does. I don't like this woman. Anyways, are you gonna miss me? Yeah? Maybe I could like move to Morocco and become a Moroccan princess. As if this is freaking Aladdin or something. I have like nothing to lose since I got fired from my job, like for like the weirdest reasons. Probably because you took too many trips and they're like, fuck you, bitch. We don't want to deal with you anymore. What? So wait, you got fired the day before your trip and let's just go anyways, balls to the wall? Like, anyways, they get to the airport and the attendant is like, so does your sister have a man too? Why? Is that even ethical? Can he even do that? Like, what is going on? It's like, I'll give you her phone number if you can give me a discount on checking my bags. Sure thing. Okay, here's her number. You're just pimping your sister out so you can get a discount on checking your bags. She sucks. Anyways, he says you don't gotta pay a thing. You're good. So not even just a discount. She didn't have to pay anything. Wow. Anyways, while that's happening, we meet Ziad. She is his first love. His first message was, hi, wifey. Girls like those words. Girls love to be love bombed, apparently. We see him buying flowers. He says, American women are so open minded. Really? The first thing I think about when I think about American women are just westernized women. Open minded. Whoa. Right. But for Moroccans, we have some rules. Yeah, I know that. I've heard of these rules before. Thanks to Nicole and Asin. I know there are fucking rules. And I would think my girl would know that there's rules because she's done this before. But hey, who am I? She arrives and she's gonna go do Darcy, Darcy it up for, for him. He gets to the airport, but not really. He technically parks like in a parking lot and says, I'm here. Good luck fucking finding me. Like, it was so weird. Like, you should go to the airport and meet her. Anyways, yeah, anyway. Um, he's like, across the street, not at the airport because the airport is busy. So you're just leaving her to figure it out with all of her bags and shit by herself? But anyways, of course, he's waiting for a while she's getting dressed, doing her makeup. And now she has to take all of her luggage by herself to go meet him in a parking lot. But she's managing. I'll give her that. But her biggest issue is those texts from him. The text that she was getting on the way here, where he's, I guess, flipping the script on her a little bit, or just, well, I don't know, being honest. Then her luggage starts rolling away, and then she sees him and she runs off to hug him and leaves her bags behind while her purse is also on one of the suitcases. Let's leave that behind too. And he says, she looks more beautiful in person. Yeah, do I really? What about my boobs? Are my boobs good? My boobs good. Why are we talking about your boobs? You guys just met in person. You guys just met. But he says, you can't talk like that. I'm Muslim. You have to respect my religion and don't talk about your boobs. And he's like, but I do respect your religion, but let's talk about boobies. And she said, but you were telling me that we could kiss at the airport and now you say, no, we can't do that. And he says, I did, tell you that we can't. Well, no, technically she's telling the truth here. He did tell her that I don't care. You're my girl. I'm going to kiss you at the airport and all of this. When, I mean, it's on him for not being truthful, but it's also on her for being stupid. Like, you've done this before. Are you really trying to make me think that your ex-fiance was just kissing you all willy-nilly at the airport and shit? No, I don't buy it. And I mean, hey, maybe he was because there wasn't a camera crew. I would be interested to know how his behavior would have been with or without a camera crew. It would have been similar to Ziad. But at the end of the day though, Google is your best friend. Anyway, um he then tries to kiss her on the cheek because that's really the only thing he could do. And she's no, I don't want to mess up my makeup. Who gives a fuck about your makeup? He's trying to give you some form of intimacy here that he can do within legal limits. And you're like, no, my makeup. Wow. And he says, okay, well, I will just not kiss you at all then. And she freaks out because she's like, I don't know this person. He told me this, that, and the other. And then he said he's not going to kiss me at all for the rest of this trip. Like, I don't fucking get it. I hate her. Um, She's like, I feel like you've been lying to me this whole time. And I'm thinking, yes, did he technically lie to you? Sure, he definitely did. But at the same time, I'm going to say it again. You have done this before. So of all people who should know how this works, it's you. But whatever. Anyway, that is it for Emma. We're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we will jump in with the second half of the episode. Hi, everyone. So I have a new product for you to take part in. This one is called Zelda merch. Zelda, like the video game. So just a little bit about Zelda merch. So they are the first store that is dedicated to the Legend of Zelda merch, and it stands out. At Zelda Merchandise, they specialize in delivering one-of-a-kind, high-quality Legend of Zelda merchandise that you won't find anywhere else. So whether you're a devoted fan of Zelda, or you collect unique items, or you're just searching for the perfect gift for someone, I could think of someone myself who I could gift this for, their exclusive products are designed to celebrate your love for the series. So they pride themselves in offering a diverse range of premium items. So you can get stylish apparel or stunning accessories to captivating home decor and collectibles. So, what sets them apart is their dedication to bringing you rare and distinctive creations inspired by the iconic world of Zelda. So, from exclusive designs featuring your favorite characters and symbols to custom crafted treasures, you won't find this anywhere else. Everything in their store is made to amaze. So, these are different things that you can find. If you're interested, you can get exclusive designs inspired by Zelda's legendary world, premium craftsmanship at the best prices, unique creative products that elevate your fandom. So, they have like weekly bestsellers, they have different rings that you can partake in. They also have Bluetooth controllers or Joy-Con chargers, Nintendo Switch carry cases, Zelda games, of course, and they have, Switch card holders, different controllers that are obviously Zelda inspired, or you can go for the more like merchandise type stuff. They have wallets, music boxes, phone cases, mouse pads, keycaps, purses, plushies, watches, mugs. I think I know what I'm going to be doing. I think I know what I'm going to be getting. A special person in my life who loves Zelda. They have mugs, alarm clocks, backpacks. They also have different jewelries, necklaces, keychains, earrings. I mentioned the rings already, or even just other fun stuff like puzzles, paintings, rugs, blankets, even bedding. They also have stickers if you want to go that route, or wall art, posters. You can also get things for someone's birthday, birthday themed Zelda, figures, lamps, Lego. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So if you want to partake in that as well as support the podcast, you can go to zelda-merchandise.com/reality2. So that again is zelda-merchandise.com/reality2 to partake in that. There is also a coupon code that will also be reality2 that you can also use at checkout as well to support not only Zelda merchandise, but as well as the podcast. And I'm back. So let's get in with Laura. She's 47. And she's like, do you think we should go line dancing? Like, what should I wear? What could I wear? AI apparently is her new best friend. So she's like, hey, AI, are Turkish men well endowed? Well, star proof would make you think that they are. Anyway, she is into smut, Miss Laura. She loves it actually so much that she has actually written some of her own smut. So we learn a little bit of history about her. She was married at 21. That didn't work out. She was then engaged again, but that also didn't work out. No one seems to be interested in the things that she's interested in until she met a man named Michal. Now, they met while playing pickleball. They hike, they bike, and they kayak together. They'll cook together and go line dancing. People think that they are together, and you would think, based on everything she's telling us, that yes, they are the ones that are together. But let's remember, this is called before the 90 days. It would not make sense if she was dating a guy who lives right there in great old US of A. But so her actual boyfriend is okay, so she says Birkan, but it's Birkan, or Birkan, whatever. He's from Turkey. She's like, I mean, he's hot, but he's also young. He's 26. So he apparently works in cafes as a barista or something like that. We do meet Michael here, and Michael says, I know people think that we should be together. Hell, so do I. I just met you guys. But when I met her, she was engaged, so I wasn't thinking that way. Fair enough. But if he comes, like, or I guess if he's saying if he were to be in this relationship, or she would be in this relationship with Birkan, and they go the distance, you know, it would potentially dissolve what they have together, her and Michael. So we see them making protein bars that are apparently very nutritious. Her health is very important to her because during that pandemic, we learned that she gained weight and she weighed about 315 pounds. She ultimately lost 150 pounds with nutrition, exercise, and the whole bit. Good for her. That is a feat. So we do learn here that Michael may be coming to Turkey, I guess, as moral support. She wants to play it by ear, though, because, well, it'd be a little weird to have your male friend come out to Turkey with you, while you're getting to know your boyfriend. But he said, I will buy a flight ticket last minute to be there for you if that's what you need me to do. What is she doing? Why isn't she with this guy? This guy seems like the perfect guy. Um, he gets that Birkan doesn't like him, but if you want to keep me in your life, it would be good to meet him. He's trying, I guess, to be the friend. Birkan does not like her having a friend who's a man. That's not surprising. He is, after all, Islamic, and we know how they are with the opposite sex when you're in a relationship with somebody. Um, his explanation is simply men know men. True. I hear him on that too. Michael says, how much would he want you to pull away? And Laura says, this always had an expiration date. Now, that's my thing here. If you are supposed to be friends with this person, you guys are close, you do everything together, and you're going in with this idea that, this friendship is going to have an expiration date. It shouldn't have to be that way for one of two reasons. It's like, okay, you guys are just friends. You guys, despite what Harry says, men and women can be friends. It's fine. Or there are more feelings there than you're willing to admit, which is why this has to have an expiration date. I just wouldn't feel comfortable being in a relationship where I feel like I have to eliminate any friend that is a man, you know? Um, Obviously, you eliminate people who you may have had a thing with here and there out of respect for your relationship. But if this is not what this is, then, what's the big deal? She said, like, this is not a normal dynamic. Fair enough, it's maybe not a normal dynamic, but maybe it's because you're meant to be with him. Laura admits that she did gain feelings for Michael, but he would say things like, I gotta find a partner, this and that, like kind of saying the opposite of what you would want to hear if you were in a relationship or if you liked a person. So she took the hint, but she said lately he's been acting differently. Probably because she's in this relationship and he's being told there's expiration dates and whatnot. He'll be holding her hand, taking her out on a date, essentially, apparently. Okay. She says she thinks that he doesn't want to acknowledge that he has feelings for her. Maybe he's afraid. Maybe he's thinking, first of all, number one, if you didn't watch the show and seen Michael, he does have a physical deformity. He had this at birth. It's very subtle though. Like you can barely see it. Like you it's there. You know it. You know it's there, but it's not like it. It clearly is something that he notices. He has issue with, um, and that is understandable. So I think that's one thing. But on the other hand, as well, he's probably thinking, well, you're in a relationship with this younger man. I can't compete with that. So I tell you how I feel about you. What if you still, with that being said, decide to go to Turkey and try it out with this guy? So I think like he's between a rock and a hard place where he's like, maybe I should be vulnerable with you. But then what if my vulnerability gets me absolutely nowhere? So I feel for him of like the fact of like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So she says that she wants a man who will be there, protect her the whole bit. He says that's what you deserve. You deserve to have a man who will do those things for you. And he says, I appreciate our relationship. But then like he starts breaking down and I start crying because he's crying. He says, growing up with a birth defect, it was hard. He's like, I learned to reject people before they could reject me. And you just want to hug him. I just want to hug him. And you say we have an expiration date when you said you would always be there. And she doesn't deserve him. Like, seriously, it's like, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, you're talking about expiration dates and this, that, or the other. You're saying that this always had that. But he's telling us, you didn't say that. You said you would always be there. So you're already creating an unsafe environment. If you think he isn't capable of acknowledging something, you're not creating a safe environment for him to acknowledge. It says you'd rather be with this younger man in a different country where it may or may not work with him. You know what I mean? Where I feel very confident that she could be happy as a clam. Is that the term? Anyways, happy as hell with Michael right here in the great old US of A. You know what I mean? Anyways, that is it for Laura. Let's move on to Rick. I think he's our final guy here. Listen, I wanted to like Rick. I really did. But as time goes on with this season, I'm like, he gives me the ick. I'm absolutely turned off by Rick. He gives me, what's that guy's name again who was in the wheelchair? He gives me those vibes where it's like, I want to like Brian. I want to like you, but I don't like you. You're giving me the ick. I don't know who's worse, Brian or Rick. Funnily enough, it might be Rick. Well, we'll get to that. Let's start off with the first episode, though, with Rick, where we are blissfully ignorant about him. So we see him brushing wigs, because apparently he sells them. He's 52 years old, and he does look very good for his age. Like, he looks great. Okay, back don't crack. Let's be real here. He apparently started a wig and hair extension business. He started it because his ex-wife owned a salon, so he kind of, I guess, was piggybacking off of her career. He's also a dance instructor, so he's like a jack of all trades. Everybody? He has 5 frickin' children. 5 of them. A lot of them. 3 are grown and 2 are small. He has 2 small sons. So we find out that he's with a woman named Trisha. She's 25 from Madagascar. Okay? He apparently had a thing for Madagascar. What's it? Madagascar? Women from Madagascar. He had a thing for them because he said he met 2 very attractive women. Um, I think he said in Madagascar or they were from Madagascar. He didn't realize, y'all, that the island of Madagascar is a real island. He just thought that it was in that animated movie we all saw once called Madagascar. Okay, so here's the thing. Really? You think they just created this island off the coast of Africa just randomly and you know what I mean? You're just thinking that this island just has a bunch of lemurs dancing to "I like to move it, move it." Is that what you're thinking is happening? You just think that there's a King Julian out there with with this little henchman named what was that actor's name again? Cedric? I know it was played by Cedric the Entertainer. Whatever his name was, whatever his name was. You think that this is what is happening, and that uh, off of in this situation that the movie Madagascar just create was only created so that a hippo, a giraffe, a lion, and a zebra were all being shipwrecked in the this island in Madagascar where the lemurs are dancing to "I like to move it, move it." Like that's what you think is happening. Where you have penguins being like, "Just smile and wave, boy, smile and wave." That's what you think is happening. Can you tell I watched Madagascar a lot? I have a little brother that was watching that movie like crazy at the time. So yeah, it's wow. Um, just wow. Um, I loved that movie, y'all. That was a great movie. King Julian. Oh, I love King Julian. He actually created my love for lemurs. Let's be real. Anyways, I like to move it, move it. She like to move it, move it. He like to move it. Do, 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 do. Okay, enough about Madagascar. Let's get back to it. Well, Madagascar, the movie. Let's get back to it. So he calls her and she says, "Looking at your sons makes me want to make babies. Ma'am, he's got 5 of these. 5 of these. I know 3 are grown, but he has 5 of these. Are we sure here?" Anyways, she's like, "Ours would be so cute. He already has 5 of them. He doesn't need more." But they are older, she says, because he says, like, "I have 5 kids." And she said, "But they're older. 3 are older. He still has 2 small sons." Anyway, um, he says our relationship isn't strong enough to be talking about children because only a few weeks ago, she apparently ghosted him. And it was only after 5 days that she started answering his phone calls. He tried to talk to her about it, but she would just get angry anytime he would bring it up. More on that later. We got a family cookout along with his older son, Dougie. Teach me how to Dougie. Teach me how to Dougie. Who is 29 years old. Now, if you're doing the math, Trisha is 25. His oldest son is 29. What in the fuck? Anywho's, his dad says, "Your mom don't know how to play dominoes." Wait a second. What black family doesn't know how to play dominoes? It is a rite of passage that black people learn how to play dominoes. It is a rite of passage that black people, at least a family, owns their own domino set. I have my own domino set. I actually found it the other day. My own domino set has colors too. It's pretty. But you know what I mean? It is a rite of passage. I do not know how to play dominoes. It's not that hard. Anyways, Rick is like agreeing with what I'm just saying. How are you black and you don't know how to play dominoes? It's true though. If you're not black, you don't understand the cultural thing surrounding dominoes. You know what I mean? Unless you are black, you don't fully understand. So when he said, "How are you black and you don't know how to play dominoes?" I died because it's true. How do you not know? Ma'am, get your act together. Anyway, but he tells his family about the ghosting from Trisha. But we learn she would only give him like one word replies whenever he would text. So she wasn't really ghosting him. She was maybe busy. Who knows? Her excuse was, oh, well, my brother wrecked my motorcycle and she was dealing with the police because her ex-boyfriend was accusing her of robbing his family's home. So she was apparently going through it. To me, when you hear this for the first time, you're thinking, oh, so she's a true ass scammer. Because that's scammer 101. Say this shit is going on and so that's what you're thinking, right? Um Apparently, though, the robbing of the ex's situation was all a misunderstanding. That didn't happen. He says, but it doesn't seem right. You know, maybe the ex is more involved than you think. I don't think she would go back to him, he says, but he has more money and I mean, I can't spoil her like that. So he's like, I'm on a budget. But then he drops a bomb during, drops a bomb about the situation because he has a secret about those 5 days as well. He says during those 5 days that she had ghosted him, something happened that she doesn't know about. Listen, I'm going to try and save it because I now know what that was. But let me tell you, I'm like, oh, so he cheated. That's all this is. He cheated during those 5 days. He took the opportunity during that time and cheated on her. And I'm thinking, okay, so he probably like waited 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 days, and then decided on the fourth or fifth day, fuck this shit, I'm gonna go get my dick wet. That's probably what happened. That's what I'm thinking, right? It's way worse than that, y'all. We'll get to it. He says sometimes you make decisions that stay with you and haunt you. And he says this particular one is haunting him. Anyways, that is it, y'all. That is it for this episode. Yeah, we'll be doing episode 2 soon enough. But yeah, that is it for me, y'all. That is it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, bear with me because I have not done an outro for the podcast in quite some time. So bear with me here. So if you liked what you heard, you can go to any of your favorite podcast apps. You can follow, make sure you don't miss a single episode. And you can also rate the podcast at either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It'd be greatly appreciated. As a reminder, any 5-star ratings that are given to the podcast or any comments that are given to the podcast will be read on the podcast, which I have done in the past. If you want to connect with the podcast through social media, you can find me at Facebook and Instagram at Reality T times 2. You can also find me at Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Reality times 2 pod. I believe you can email me at realityt times 2 at hotmail.com and you can have any inquiries, anything like that, any ideas, any shows or episodes you want me to cover, you can definitely do that over there. And I am going back to our old website, and that is at solo.to/reality t times 2. There you can get any of the links to anything that I didn't mention here, any of the socials, website, email, all of that. It's all there for you. And we also have a new thing there where you can help support the podcast as well. It's called a tip jar. And you can tip whatever your heart's desire if you want to support the podcast, but don't want to necessarily support the podcast in going to Patreon, for example, or any of the links in any of the advertisements. You can do it there. But since we're on the topic of Patreon, you can head on over to patreon.com/reality t times 2, where there you can get access to even more than what I do here. There are 3 different tiers where you can get these shows ad free, as well as our next tier up where you would get another reality show that's being covered So, we have Jersey Shore that's been getting covered. That's still being covered currently at the time of recording of this outro, but the future is bright with what's to come in the future, which I will be discussing, or I have discussed. I don't even know. And then also our next tier is a true crime tier as well. So you can definitely head over for that. But that is basically it. I will also just quickly mention here too, if you're interested in a different take of a podcast that I'm a part of, we do things a little differently. You can head on over to Next Take Podcast, where I usually drop bonus episodes here on this feed, but there you get a lot more. And that podcast is making changes. We're growing, doing new things, but you can definitely head on over there if you want to just hear a little bit different than what I do over here. So you can find that podcast over at our website, solo.to/next take podcast. And there we'll have all the links to your desire that will link you to any of your favorite podcast apps or YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of it. Social medias, it's all over there. But of course, you can still find that podcast at any of your favorite podcast apps. But that is it for this episode. We'll see you next time with another episode. Bye, everybody.